If you feed them, they will come. Well, that's what we're hoping anyway. Okay, so I'm testing a red velvet cake recipe. I've never made one before. My cousin Kim used to make them all the time when I was a kid, and I thought they were so good, and I was like, oh my gosh. And then I said, hey Kim, give me your recipe. She said, well, if you go to the store, there is a box. I was like, oh man. So I'm trying to make red velvet cake from scratch, and it's so far so good. An interesting little thing to make it bubble is putting some baking soda and vinegar together and then pouring it into the batter, mixing it in, and then dispersing and stick it in your oven. So we'll see if that works, because that'd be kind of cool if it does. But anyway, so those are in the oven right now, and I've been working on, I compiled all my daily songs, and I've got things organized and laid out the way that they're supposed to be, and I'm about an hour behind. But I think I can catch up here real quick. So fingers crossed that can happen. I know this is a total first world problem, like all these are for sure. But if you have a favorite red velvet cake recipe, let me know what it is. I think that this one's pretty cool, and it's a pretty basic recipe, and everybody says it's just a chocolate cake with, red food coloring. But so far, I haven't tasted it, so it may not be very good. We'll see. But I got this food coloring stuff that's a gel instead of just food coloring, and the recipe calls for 2 tablespoons of food coloring. And with this gel, it only took a tablespoon and a half to get it to the color that it's supposed to be. So, fingers crossed. We'll see. This is basically my day. Gracie. Not really. So red velvet cakes are in the refrigerator cooling, and now I just made some mayonnaise with the egg yolks. I ended up having 3 because for the macaroons you need 3 eggs. So most recipes only call for 2 egg yolks. So instead of dividing it up, what I did was I ended up just adding 50% more of everything in there. So it turned out pretty good. And so that's good in the refrigerator for a week. I learned how to do that a couple of days ago, so that's really cool. Now I'm gonna sit down for a minute. I'm working on installing Windows Office or Microsoft Office or whatever it is onto the new Mac so that I can work on a mail merge for for labels that go onto invitations for our February 19th concert. So that is the next step while I sit down for a minute, and then I've got to get the macaroons done. Mad respect for those who are in the culinary arts. It is not easy to culinary art, if that's a verb. I have made some macarons today, and they turned out really good, so that's positive so far. And I've frosted my red velvet cake, and I used all the frosting for what they call a crumb coat. So now, since I'm going to put some raspberry buttercream in between my macarons to make them like a raspberry macaron, I guess. Raspberry almond macaron. I'm just going to double or triple that recipe, and I put a crumb coat on the cake, and then I'll decorate the red velvet cake with raspberry. Chocolate and raspberry go kind of together, right? So I'm going to make the buttercream a darker red if I can, so that it even looks a darker red than the way that the macarons cooked. So we'll see. Fingers crossed. It might work. Okay, so I cooked all day long. All day. I cooked 4 things basically. I made this red velvet cake. Look how beautiful that looks. Even if I do say so myself. Some of the outside of it does not look great. But I ran out of buttercream and improvised, and that's what you get when you improvise. And then I made some chicken curry for dinner. It's Tuesday curry. That's what we have on Tuesdays. And I think I can press print on my recipe, so I will write it down now. And now we are doing a project for the concert that I have on the 19th. It's all about travel and going places and stuff. So we bought this. Oh, here, let me show you. We bought this atlas here, and it's got a bunch of maps inside of it. So we're gonna pull the maps out and put them inside of these bowls, and on the outside of the bowls we're putting paper so that it looks like kind of an old-timey bowl. And then then they'll sit on each table. There are 10 tables, and we will put cookies in them. So I'm gonna be making cookies and stuff like that. So hopefully if you feed them, they will come. That's what we're hoping, fingers crossed. So thank you all so much for watching. If you feel inclined, like, subscribe, follow along on Instagram so you can see all the pictures of my Will Bake for Food stuff and my daily songs, which are kind of funny. They're funny to me anyway. So thanks so much for watching. Bye.